How's it going, guys? It's Lewis here with SurfPrep Sanding, and today I'm with Tina Billings. Can you tell us a little bit about your business, what you do?
I would say 90% of my jobs are kitchen cabinets where I'm doing refinishing. They're pre-stained cabinets. Somebody has builder grade, and I go in and upgrade them. I want them to look custom, and they don't want to pay custom prices and have it torn out. So I go in and I add woodworking trims and panels to sides, and take all their doors and drawer fronts home with me and refinish those, and then I spray everything else inside the house.
Awesome. And I know that's a really big market right now, and a big part of what we've been doing is training, especially a lot of painters that are coming into the industrial wood world. Because with white cabinets, it's just a really popular item right now. So before you bought the SurfPrep tool, how were you sanding the cabinets?
It's time consuming. Most of it was by hand, especially just the frames and stuff. Anytime you put like a big sander up there, it jumps all over the place. And so most of the frames were done by hand. And then the doors, I would go over the flat parts with like an regular orbital sander, but everything on the sides or anything was all done by hand. Yeah, it's time consuming. It was just a lot of work, and then I didn't get as good of a sand as I do using the SurfPrep. That's for sure. Yeah.
You shared an interesting story with me about when you seen the tool online, and can you kind of share that with me?
When I first started looking at different options and different things that were out there, told my husband, I said, man, there's a sander out there that everybody's raving about, and it costs $500. I said, why in the world would anybody ever pay $500 for a sander? That's got to be crazy. And he just kind of shook it off, and then later he came to me and said, what tool do you take to every single job? And I said, my sander, my multi-tool. He said, well, you'll pay $500 for a saw that you don't use on every job, but you won't pay it for a sander. And that made me think, well, God, if it's that good, what am I missing? What's got to be that good? And so I kept doing some research, because I'm not one to just kind of jump into things. And so I ordered it, and I was like, man, this is really cool. I mean, it's easy to use. It fits your hand well. It doesn't vibrate so much that you feel like after a full day of sanding, you feel like your hand and your arm is still vibrating. Yeah. And so you don't get that. And then I can do it like when I have harder reach spots or something. I can barely have to touch the and it'll go on. And so it's nice because sometimes you can't get in there conveniently and try to sand and try to move your arm the right way. It can happen, but this thing, you just have to touch the little button and it'll do it for you.
And it gets in all of those little hard to reach areas.
Yes, because it's not, well, especially the 3x4, it's not real big, so that helps get into all those little bitty areas.
How much time would you say you've saved switching from what you did before to the SurfPrep tool?
Well, I think one thing is that I'm getting a better sand by using the SurfPrep tool. So I may go over it with my sander, with the regular orbital sander a few times. So you're saving a lot of time, because if you use this properly and go over it not fast, and you don't have to go over it all over the place. Put some time and just go over it where you need it. You don't have to go over it once. So I mean, you're saving a lot of time. I don't know how much time it is, but a lot of time. Take a cabinet, a kitchen home, and it is like 2 days. It used to take me at least to clean them and sand them. And I mean, I'm a one-person job, type of thing. So I mean, 2 days with a sander in my hand, I was just like,
absolutely.
So this is much, much faster.
Absolutely. Now, can you kind of share how you have the tool hooked up here?
Sure. I have a hose. This hose, I guess I had it from something else, but it happened to fit. So I bought that, or I have that, and then I attached it to, it's just attached to my rigid.
To your rigid shop back?
Yeah, my rigid shop back. And I actually did buy this cord, which I think is the thinner one. Okay. And it's longer. Yep. And I just attach it to my rigid, and it works just fine.
Here, what would you typically do on your raw wood?
Typically on my raw wood, I'm just looking for anything that's not level, on the corners or something like that. And then I'm going to go over it for smoothness and make sure everything is smooth.
refinish, what's typically your go-to for sanding this type of application?
Well, in those applications, you're going to definitely want to use one of the sponges. I mean, it takes the, I don't know if you can see it, but it takes the shine right off. And that's what you're looking for. You can see over in here, this part here. But that's what you're wanting, is something that just removes it. Right there. But yeah, and what's nice is I can sanding this part and I'm sanding this part all at the same time.
Right.
So I have to go back and change my pad 15 million times, change my sander.
One thing I really like to do when I'm using the sander, if I'm doing my profiles, is I'll actually offset the pad just a little bit.
Ah.
So when you offset that pad, it'll help you kind of get in there. But not only that, it's going to save your actual pad. So one little tip. Yep. And, you know, just get creative with it. Sometimes I'll put it like that, you know, and that'll help save it as well. And I can just go around it. But yeah.
Awesome.
Well, awesome, Tina. I really appreciate you taking the time and showing us your shop and how you do everything. And I know our end users really appreciate it as well. So, guys, if y'all have any questions at all, please shoot us a message. And make sure you give Tina a like on her social media platforms. We'll make sure to post those links here on this post.